Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ruby, this is Ruby Red, and today we're playing another round of my TBR game, tic-tac-TBR. If this is the first one of these videos that you're encountering, welcome, and I will give you a brief rundown. It's a game that I play every month to help me guide my reading. I put 9 prompts into a 3x3 grid, a tic-tac-toe board, and then throughout the month I try to read books that are gonna fulfill some of those prompts in order to get a 3 in a row. And for every 3 in a row I get, I will get a reward to help me out the next month. And if I start doing too well and I manage to get too many 3 in a rows on one board, or if I get them all, then I have to add a challenge prompt, which is just one of my 30x30 books, goes onto the board and it stays on that board for multiple months until I have read it. So if you like the sound of that, make sure that you're subscribed so you don't miss another episode of this game. And the playlist is linked below if you want to catch up. There's plenty to catch up on. And the template is also linked down below. It's a Google Sheets template. You can save a copy to your own Google Drive and then adjust the prompts to suit your needs and play your own game. And if you do that, I would love to hear about it because I just would. So the first order of business we have today is to talk about August and the August prompts. Okay, the prompts that I had on my board for the month of August were On My Shelf, Climate Fiction, YouTube Book Club, Very Historical Fiction, an Urban Setting, Religious in Some Way, rated a 4.0 or higher on Goodreads, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, and A Disappointing Book. There was one other challenge that I kind of set myself for the month of August, and that was to specifically complete this 3 in a row with books that I selected in the video last month. And in that way I just gave myself a mini TBR, a set TBR, which is something I never do. And I picked these 3 books and I said that if I didn't complete that 3 in a row by reading these books, then I was not going to give myself rewards for any of the other 3 in a rows that I might have achieved. I did this because I wanted to be more intentional about reading books and which books I read. Because of the nature of this game, sometimes I end up going just like requesting willy-nilly all over Libby any random book and trying 3 chapters of this book, 3 chapters of that book, and I just like cycle through so many things and it feels a little bit haphazard. That's how I was feeling, at least in like July and a couple of months before that, like all the months. So I gave myself this mini TBR thinking that that would just help me, zero in on like something. But here's the thing, TBRs are not for me. I'm a mood reader. That's why this game is the way it is, because it gives me some guidance. It helps me pick a little bit, but it does not limit me in any way, and that's what I need. So why did I do this? I said why. So I did read 2 of these books and I DNF'd one of them. Yeah, and we'll get to that in a second. Actually, no, we're gonna talk about it right now. So the first one that I read was The Seed Keeper by Dan Wilson, and this was rated 4.0 or higher on Goodreads. I think it's like 4.3, and I did read this. And then I read The Nature of Nature, which is a book on my shelf. I'm filming this like a week early and I haven't finished it, but I have like 100 pages left. I'm definitely going to, so don't worry. That one's done. We're counting it for this month. I'll definitely finish it. But the Very Historical Fiction, Wolf Hall, yeah, I didn't finish this book. But you know what? I'm counting it. I mean, I'm counting the challenge as completed, because even though I didn't finish this, like it achieved its goal in that it did help me zero in my reading a little bit. I knew that I had to focus on these 3 books, and I did, but I just didn't actually want to read this book. Once you get right down to it. It's not even that I ran out of time. This was the first book that I picked up this month, and I read over 100 pages. I really tried, but the writing style, the like meandering kind of narrative was just throwing me off consistently, and I felt like I didn't have enough background knowledge to really enjoy it. And then even after I was like doing all of this research and trying to understand the historical context, the time period, I didn't like reading it, so I'm not reading it. I still might try to read something by this author, but not this. I will be, after this video, donating it. putting it somewhere else. So even though I didn't read all 3 of those books, yeah, I'm counting it. I'm not going to give myself a 3 in a row, but I am going to allow myself to get some other 3 in a rows. So what are they, you might ask? Well, the first book that I read this month actually was extremely disappointing. The first book that I finished, aside from Wolf Hall being disappointing, was Just Like Home by Sarah Gailey. I was so excited to read this book and I ended up giving it 2 stars. Eek! And if you want to hear more about my thoughts, you're going to have to wait for my wrap-up. My August wrap-up, which should be coming in the next week or so. Then I read a book club book, a YouTube book club book. I read Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes for the Shelf This Book Club, and that was Kayla's pick. I'm going to link the live discussion down below because if you've read it, or if you're gonna read it after you read it, you should just watch the live show because I thought we were pretty funny. And then finally, I read a book with an urban setting. My regular non-online book club read Cult Classic by Sloane Crosley, and that is set in New York City, which makes it urban. So that gives me 2 3 in a rows, which is great. That's great. And it's good because I'm gonna get some rewards. I'm feeling excited. And it's also like I feel like I didn't burn myself out reading like a ton in this month. I really liked taking it a bit slower. I did read a couple of other books that didn't fit the prompts, but for the most part, I kept it chill. And we're gonna probably not be able to carry that into September. Oh, September. For the month of September, I seem to have a lot going on. A bit by accident, I guess. Well, in September, I'm going to be starting a 75-day long reading challenge that's going to involve me reading more backlist titles, hopefully backlist on my shelf, and also prioritizing some ARCs, the advanced reader copies that I get from NetGalley that I'm super behind on. So I'm doing a little challenge to catch up on some of that, but I'm just not sure how much other reading I'm going to be doing outside of those challenges. And it's Bookopoly-thon in September, which is a very fun and cool readathon based on Becca and the Book's TBR game, which is like one of the original TBR games on this website. It's based on Monopoly. It's Bookopoly, if you haven't heard. I've never participated in Bookopoly-thon, and it's happening in September, and I really wanted to participate. And I'm not sure in what capacity I will be able to based on the aforementioned challenge and also the fact that I will be spending half of this month at my parents' house, where my reading ability is just very different from my reading ability when I'm here at my house. So I don't know what's gonna happen. So it's something that could be very stressful, but I'm just reminding myself that like it's just books. This is just books. So I'm just gonna have a good time, read whatever I can read, and that's that. It's just something to get worked up over. Anyway, now that I'm done being worked up about it, let's select my prompts for my September board. And yeah, I'm never doing that, picking a TBR ever again. That was horrible. Okay, first up, we're going to do my rewards. There's 11 reward prompts still. Number 1, swap a prompt. So this means that after I have selected all of my prompts for this month's board, I can regenerate a prompt and get something new if I don't like it. And reward number 9, a freebie. That one's such a delight. So this just means that I can cross off a space without reading a book for it. Ta-da! Okay. Now the prompts. So the bell jar is remaining where it was because I didn't read it. And I still have 111 prompts, and I shuffled them. I try to shuffle them and also like go through them and like add some and delete some every month, but I haven't, I have shuffled them, that's it. Okay. All right, our first prompt, 80, is fire element. Oh, that's kind of a weird one. And like so open to interpretation. I actually feel like I might have an arc that has like fire or flame in the title. So that might be upcoming for me in September regardless. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like on my bookshelf about fire and flames. A book that I am planning to read next month, regardless of what the prompts show me and my challenges, is a book for the Shelf This Book Club, which this month in September is going to be reading The Library at Mount Char, which is fire element adjacent. So that one I feel very confident about being able to fulfill. Next prompt is 62. Native/indigenous author. Excellent. I think I might have an arc that is going to fulfill this as well, but I can't fully remember, but otherwise I'll just have to take a peek around Libby and see what I can find. Just off the top of my head, the thing that I most am excited to read is Night of the Living Res, which is a collection of short stories that all take place on a reservation. I don't know if they all take place in like a short span of time or like the same group of people. They're connected, but they are individual stories, is my grasp of the whole grasp that I have about what that book is about. But I have heard people talk about it and I know I'm intrigued. So even though I don't remember what it's about, I remember that I'm intrigued. You know how it is. Okay, our next prompt is 13. An adaptation. Oh, yes. I love reading books that become media. Wait, they are media. I love adaptations. I always try to read a book before I see the movie or the series or whatever. So what is on my list upcoming other than East of Eden, which I do want to read, but I just don't know if September is the month that that's going to happen. And I know that that adaptation is pretty far out. I can't think of anything that's like upcoming, but it's been a while since I've checked the blogs about like what's being adapted. So I'm gonna have to take a perusal. If you have any ideas, any info about works that are being adapted soon, let me know, because I love that. I love that. What a good prompt. Okay, prompt number 6. DNF Redemption. Oh no, I hate this prompt. I hate this prompt. Wow. So the purpose of this prompt is just that I go back and read a book that I started in the past and didn't finish. There are some books that I put down that I know I never want to pick up again, but there are others that it's just like it wasn't the right time. What comes to mind is a book that's also been coming to mind as far as my backlist reading challenge, which is to read A People's History of the United States, which is a book I've started twice before and both times gave up on. So we'll see if that happens. But yeah, it's just a book that I didn't finish and then I tried again. You hate to see it. Let's get our, 5th prompt? 95. Book about books. That is one of my favorite prompts. I love books that are about books. Some of my favorite books happen to have books. I have 2 books on my bookshelf right now that are generally about libraries, which are filled with books. So, oh, and The Library at Mount Char. Shoot. I don't have a double up, but I don't know what else is on my radar. I feel like all of the ones that I know about, I either read or I know I don't want to read. So, I'm gonna have to go back to the video where I talked about all the books about books that I love and see what some comments were recommending, because yeah, I might be like almost out of books about books. And that is a tragedy. Okay, next, 15. Latinx author. Love to see it. That is just a book that is written by an author from Latin America. Do I want to read Love in the Time of Cholera and just keep rolling my Gabriel Garcia Marquez like love? Like kind of. Yeah, I kind of do. But I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna fit. There's a lot going on for me in September, like I said. So that feels like a book I wanna maybe save for when I'm paying more attention to it or something. we'll just see. I feel like I keep saying this, I feel like I must have an ARC that is by a Latinx author. And if not, I will get something from the library. That's a great prompt. I hope that I can complete it. Okay, we're almost done. Prompt 110, book with Flora on the cover. Oh, that's lovely. I don't know. That feels like kind of an easy prompt to fulfill, but it also feels like a prompt that just fulfills itself. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna plan for it, is what I'm saying. I have no ideas, I'm not gonna plan for it. Let's pick our final prompt and then decide what to swap. That was scary. I don't know if you saw the lights flicker just now. Okay, a contemporary a classic prompt that's so easy, so casual. For me, I read a lot of contemporary fiction, so one of those we'll just have to do. And this is a good board, but it does feel a little bit intimidating. I guess just like that adaptation, I just like can only think of East of Eden, and I really don't think I'm going to be reading that in September. But that is like weighing on it. And then like the Bell Jar plus a book about books and a DNF Redemption. Like I just feel like the books I'm thinking of are all like intimidating me. So actually we're gonna change DNF Redemption to something else. Hopefully nothing worse. This is our swap-a prompt. Oh, YouTube book club. Shoot. Now I have 3 prompts that I could fulfill with the Library of Mount Char. I better read that book. It's good in the way that it does turn this into a game of strategy, which it some months is, because I have to just decide what prompt I'm going to use a certain book for to get the best outcome, you know? And sometimes I do have to like make a chart on my whiteboard to like know what I should do. But yeah, that's the board. These are the prompts for September, and I still have my freebie. So yeah. All right, that's it. That is my TBR board for September. I can't wait to see what happens. And I'm sorry I was a little bit absent from this channel in August. I know I wasn't posting as regularly as I like to. I don't know if other people noticed that, but I noticed it. And I am really excited about some of the things that I have planned for September. So I'm hoping that you will stick around and find out what I've got cooking. And that's it. That's all I've got today. So thanks so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Every like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate each and every one of them. So thank you for those as well. And I'll see you back here next week for another video. Bye.